cost of billions of dollars, Ford has been not revising, but revolutionizing its product line. The objective is to bring you a complete line of high-quality automobiles, which reflect state-of-the-art technology, engineering, design, and style. Each car in the line represents our new look and image of the 80s. But one more car was needed to fill out the line, a car appealing to the many different needs of mid-size car buyers. It would have Ford's commitment to quality. It would be called Tempo. It comes to you in 3 series and in 2-door and 4-door body styles. This is Tempo. Already, it's making its presence known in America. It's a car that will expand our selling opportunities into the lucrative mid-size car market. Tempo is the answer to many buyers who need a practical family vehicle. But it's also for buyers who want the kind of flair, styling, performance, ride, and handling that put fun back into driving. The 1984 Tempo GL has been priced and equipped to be the volume leader in the Tempo series. It establishes Tempo as a complete car at an attractive and unusually low price, with the appearance and features to appeal to upscale mid-size car buyers. Born of the wind tunnel, Tempo is one of the most aerodynamic cars on the road. It moves through the air more efficiently than Citation, Cavalier, and Reliant, to name just a few. Tempo's new 2300 high-swirl combustion engine puts out high torque at low speeds. This is illustrated by its ability to take off from a dead stop with authority, to pass other cars quickly, and to climb hills with surprising ease. It's Ford's first fast-burn production engine, designed to burn clean and to extract more power out of every drop of fuel. Tempo has Ford's newest generation of electronic engine controls, EEC4, the most sophisticated control system in the industry. It constantly adjusts the fuel-air mixture and spark advance for optimum performance under virtually every engine operating and driving condition. And Tempo has 4-wheel, fully independent suspension, a prerequisite for a truly comfortable ride. This advantage cannot be found on its domestic competition. The rear suspension also has Tempo's new unique parallel 4-bar design, which enhances the car's quick handling and comfortable ride. State-of-the-art technology is apparent everywhere. Wrap-over doors open up high into the roofline. They conceal the drip rail, neat, out of sight, and out of the slipstream. The interiors are functional and comfortable. Up front are individual low-back bucket seats with full-width cloth for comfort. On GL and GLX, both the driver and passenger have individual recliners. Citation, Cavalier, and Reliant have non-reclining vinyl bench seats standard. Tempo also has a standard mini console with storage bins front and rear. The domestic cars I just mentioned do not have standard consoles on any series. Tempo, the car that is redefining the traditional family sedan with advanced technology, feature content, and stylish design. For the first few months of its introduction, Tempo will be the only 1984 model in this market. The competition? Citation, with styling and much of its technology dating back to 1979. Cavalier, newer but still a carryover car. Reliant, minor changes from its 1980 models. Accord, a carryover style for several years. We are about to show you Tempo's many superiorities over these competitive cars. You're Ford's selling advantages, and we want you in turn to use these selling advantages in your sales presentations to help the competitive shopper choose the right car. Tempo. Now, let me introduce your partner, who will help you do just that in your next sales presentation with a competitive shopper. Your video disc player.
How do you do? My job will be to talk directly to your customer, to become a second salesperson, and to show them Tempo's superiority over the competitive make they've been shopping. And they have been shopping, if not physically, mentally. They are constantly exposed to the product claims of every competitive make. In newspapers, magazines, on billboards, radio, and television. Visit your friendly dealer, they are told. See our car. Test drive it.
So, why not use a little showmanship? Just because you point out Tempo's advantages over a competitive make doesn't mean that your customers will simply take your word for it. Show them. Remember, seeing is believing. Remember this too. With all those competitive nameplates out there, typical car buyers need and want help in buying the right car. Some of your customers may have misconceptions regarding competitive claims or may offer closing room objections based on competitive features.
I can help you answer those objections.
When you've qualified your prospects for Tempo, given your product presentation, but know they still want to shop, for example, Reliant,
I can help you slow down the pace, stop the shopper.
and that will help you overcome their desire to look any further. When you need strong support, use your video disc partner by showing the specific module that will help you help them decide to stop shopping. And while the disc is assisting your sales presentation, you have time to wheel that Tempo demonstrator around to the front door. The rest is up to you. And remember, your customers have to drive Tempo, have to experience the Tempo performance, ride, and handling for themselves to be persuaded to buy one.
Hi. Step in a little closer. Did you say you were thinking about looking at Citation? Nothing wrong with shopping around. After all, it's your money, and you want the best car for the dollar, right? Now, let's compare the 1983 Citation with the 1984 Tempo. Styling, of course, is subjective, so be subjective. But there are a few objective facts to consider. Citation was designed and styled in the 70s. Tempo was designed and styled in and for the 80s. Let's talk about aerodynamics. Citation's best coefficient of drag, which is a measure of power-wasting wind resistance, is 0.43. Tempo has 1984 aerodynamic styling. You might say form follows function. Drag coefficient, 0.36, which means that Tempo is among the very best in aerodynamics in the midsize class, domestic or import. That wedge-shaped profile parts the air rather than bucks it head-on. The bumper and front end flow right into the body. The grille is sloped back. The leading edge of the hood is aerodynamically tuned, and the windshield is raked back at a 60-degree angle, all to cut down on front air resistance. The rounded body and the angle of the rear window let the air flow smoothly around the car. The high rear stance and the rear spoiler reduce drag behind the car. The wraparound front parking lamps, flush bumper end caps, and flush wheel covers let the air slip past with little obstruction. The wrap-over doors are flush, and even the drip rails are tucked neatly away, yet functional, out of sight and out of wind. When it comes to aerodynamic efficiency, the facts are all on Tempo's side. Now, what about value for the dollar? Tempo has full wheel covers, while Citation has plain hubcaps. They make you pay extra for wheel covers. Tempo is equipped with standard steel-belted radial tires. Citation standard tires are glass-belted radials. And the Tempo tires have European wraparound tread for cornering. And they are all-season tires for improved traction in all kinds of weather. And Tempo's advanced design is carried forward to the most thoughtful details, like this gas cap tether. No more losing your gas cap at service stations. You can't get them on Citation, even as an option. Inside, the story is the same. Tempo has low-back individual bucket seats in full-width cloth for greater comfort. Citation has a vinyl bench seat. Cloth is extra cost, and so are bucket seats. If you ever sat on a hot vinyl seat in the summer or on a cold, stiff vinyl seat in the winter, you'll appreciate the comfort of cloth. Tempo has a console with storage bins front and rear. Not so on Citation. It's an extra cost option. But to get it, you must also buy those bucket seats. Tempo offers an AM radio with dual speakers standard. Citation, an option. Tempo has other conveniences like map bins in the door, not on Citation. Those are the little Tempo touches that mean so much to you. But it's the big touches that count. Tempo technology, for instance. Tempo has an all-new 2300 high-swirl combustion engine. It represents the latest technology. The 2300 HSC engine develops high torque at low engine speeds for surprising acceleration. Citation has a 2.5-liter engine. It's fuel injected and is a good engine, but the basic design dates back to the 70s, even before Citation came out. Both Tempo and Citation have McPherson strut independent front suspension so that each wheel can flex with the bumps without passing the jolt onto its companion wheel. But only Tempo has full independent rear suspension, using McPherson struts and a unique parallel 4-bar independent suspension for a comfortable ride and excellent cornering stability. Both have front disc rear drum brakes, but only Tempo has power brakes standard. And Tempo has the L, GL, and GLX series. With the exception of a sports dress-up package, Citation has no other series to choose from. Tempo offers a lot more options than Citation, many of them innovative and advanced in technology for the discerning buyer. Let's just mention a few that Citation doesn't offer at all. Dual reclining front seats, a power seat for the driver, console with graphic warning display module, electronic search radios, remote control quarter windows, which are included when power windows are purchased, flip-up open air roof, illuminated entry system, and a TR handling suspension with Michelin TRX tires and cast aluminum wheels with locking lug nuts. When it comes right down to it, it's hard to make a comparison because Tempo is a brand new car with new styling, a new interior, a new engine, a new suspension, all designed to give the buyer value for the money, value that lasts. Take a test drive now, experience the difference, and find out why Tempo puts the fun back in driving. Hi. If you've been looking at the new Tempo, but are also considering Cavalier, I'd like to talk to you. It's not that Cavalier isn't a good car. It is. Let me tell you a story about two people who bought two different cars. Jim bought a 1983 Cavalier CS. John bought a 1984 Tempo GL. Now, let's compare the two cars. They do have a few things in common. For instance, both have aerodynamic styling. But Tempo has a new contoured sleek look, a touch of today's Thunderbird, and it knifes through the air with minimal drag. Those numbers are called the coefficient of drag. Tempos are lower than Cavaliers. Comparing four-door models, Tempo is 16% better in fact. Both cars have front-wheel drive technology to help provide more passenger room in a mid-sized car package. However, Tempo is a roomier car than Cavalier. In fact, Tempo has nearly 4 inches more hip room than the Cavalier. Tempo's biggest advantage is in the rear compartment. Tempo is well ahead in all dimensions. 1 inch more headroom, 4.5 inches more legroom, and about 1.5 inches more shoulder and hip room. Remember, both cars are advertised as practical family cars, but those figures, particularly legroom, mean that the Tempo rear seat is a lot more practical and a lot more comfortable for long trips. Let me show you those seats. The Tempo GL has low back bucket seats with full width cloth and cloth headrests. Cloth is cooler and drier in summer driving and more comfortable than vinyl, which is what the Cavalier CS has, all vinyl bucket seats. Both cars have recliners standard. Poor Jim. If only he had known. He did know that both cars have rack and pinion steering for precise turning. Both cars have McPherson strut front independent suspension. But only one of these cars has McPherson strut rear independent suspension. Guess which one? That's right, Tempo. And it also has parallel 4-bar independent rear suspension design. What is that, you ask? It doesn't matter what it is, only what it does. And what it does for John is let him make the Amtrak crossing with the comfort of full 4-wheel independent suspension. Which car has the most advanced engine design? Tempo, of course. Our all-new 2300 high-swirl combustion engine is fast burn to get the most power out of the fuel. It is also larger than Cavalier's. Steel-belted radial all-season tires for all-year traction? Tempo again. Cavalier has standard glass-belted radial tires with conventional tread. Power brakes standard? Right again. Interval windshield wipers. You're getting good at this. That's a standard convenience feature John enjoys in his Tempo GL. It's an option on Cavalier CS. Luxury sound insulation? Standard on John's Tempo GL, but not on Jim's Cavalier CS. Tempo is simply a lot more car than Cavalier. Stylish, more advanced engineering, and more standard features with superior ride and handling characteristics. If Jim had only known. But you have the power to change this story when it happens to you. Just ask your salesperson to tell you the full Tempo story. And if you haven't yet driven a Tempo, accept his golden invitation to test drive one today. Hello. Since you're thinking about buying a Tempo, or maybe a Reliant or an Aries, I'd like to compare these cars for you. Why don't you come a little closer so you can see better? First of all, you probably need a mid-size four-door sedan with family roominess, or maybe a sportier car that's still practical. This is the 1983 Reliant SE. It fills the need. And remember, Reliant is the same basic car as Aries. This is the 1984 Tempo GL. It fills the need. So what's the difference, you ask? Well, Tempo is a new design. Tempo not only offers the latest look in the mid-size car market, but has the most aerodynamic lines. Reliant has a larger, boxier frontal area than Tempo. Obviously, the more you buck the wind, the more power you waste, and the more fuel you use. Ford's aerodynamic engineers have also achieved a low coefficient of drag, 0.36 for the two-door Sport Coupe, and 0.37 for the four-door sedan. That's 16% better than Reliant, with 0.43. Reliant's engine develops 94 horsepower at 5,200 RPM and 117 foot-pounds of torque at 3,200 RPM. Tempo's all-new high-swirl combustion engine develops 84 horsepower at a lower 4,400 RPM, so the engine doesn't have to wind up as high to produce maximum power. And Tempo puts out 118 foot-pounds of torque at a low 2,600 RPM. So Tempo develops maximum torque at much lower engine speeds for crisp acceleration and quick response at part throttle. And good acceleration is something else I'll bet you want in your practical transportation. Because of that acceleration, this engine is an ideal teammate for an automatic transaxle. Tempo's optional automatic has Ford's exclusive split torque design, which transfers most of the power in second and high gears mechanically, so as not to waste power through slippage in the transmission fluid. And there are other examples of Tempo's more up-to-date design and advanced engineering. Not only does Tempo have fully independent McPherson front strut suspension for excellent handling and stability, but also has McPherson struts in the rear. It incorporates Tempo's innovative parallel 4-bar independent suspension. Reliant does not have independent rear suspension. Tempo GL has an upgraded sound package to help isolate passengers from road and engine noise. Reliant SE doesn't. The Tempo GL offers standard interval windshield wipers for light rain and fog. The Reliant SE doesn't. Tempo has steel-belted radial tires with special rubber compounds which add significantly to low rolling resistance. And they have European wraparound tread for better cornering and all-season design for better traction in mud and snow. Reliant has glass-belted radial tires with conventional rubber and tread. Tempo GL has dual reclining low-back cloth bucket seats with cloth headrests. Cloth is more comfortable to sit on and stays cooler and drier in the summer and warmer in the winter. Reliant SE, a vinyl bench seat with no recliners. All Tempos have a console standard. Not so with Reliant, and you can get one only with optional bucket seats. Tempo gives buyers more of the standard features they want, and the same holds true for options. Tempo offers more of the options people demand to personalize their cars. For instance, Tempo offers a flip-up open-air roof, console with graphic warning display module, illuminated entry system, factory-installed anti-theft system, and a TR handling suspension with TRX Michelin tires and cast aluminum wheels. Reliant offers none of these. Tempo is a 1984 car with significant differences from Reliant and Aries. But I realize that it isn't enough just to know about them. You've got to feel those differences for yourself. Tempo is a car that drives, rides, and handles as good as it looks. Take a test drive now, experience the difference, and find out why Tempo puts the fun back into family driving. Hi, I'd like to have a word with you, sort of computer to person. I know you've seen the new Tempo, but your salesperson tells me that he thinks that you're thinking about an Accord. To tell you the truth, that's a nice car. But we want to put you in what we think is an even nicer car. That's right, Tempo. First of all, Tempo is a new 1984 car. Accord is a 1983 model. Tempo has an exciting new aerodynamic look, the look of the 80s. Accord's look has been around for a few years. Honda says that they make it simple, and they do. Accord makes a lot of things standard that are usually options on family-oriented mid-size cars, like power steering, tinted glass, locking fuel filler door, and remote trunk lid release. With Tempo, you can choose the options you desire or can afford. Honda makes it simple, but more expensive. Both cars incorporate advanced engineering, like front-wheel drive and four-wheel fully independent suspension. But Tempo has an all-new engine compared to Accord's older design. Let's stop the cars for a moment and see what makes them go. Tempo's all-new high-swirl combustion engine develops 84 horsepower at a lower 4,400 RPM. And Tempo puts out 118 foot-pounds of torque at a low 2,600 RPM. Accord has a 1751cc engine that's about 1.8 liters. Horsepower, 75 at 4,500 RPM. Torque, 95.8 foot-pounds at 3,000 RPM. Not only does Tempo have more horses for tackling the highway, but it has more torque at a lower RPM, giving you better acceleration at lower speeds. What does this mean? Surprising acceleration, even at part throttle. That you're going to like. And Tempo has EEC4 electronic engine control system. This is the most sophisticated system on the market. It processes 1 million commands a second to adjust the fuel-air mixture and spark advance continuously for optimum performance under a wide variety of operating conditions. Accord has no onboard computer capability. And when it comes to maintenance, I'll let you be the judge of which car makes it simpler for the buyer. With Tempo, you won't have to get the wheel alignment adjusted during the normal service life of the car. Accord calls for front wheel alignment inspection every 15,000 miles. Tempo's front suspension and wheel bearings are lubed for life. Not so with Accord. You won't have to change the fluid in Tempo's optional automatic transaxle except under severe driving conditions. In fact, there's no scheduled maintenance of the transmission fluid during the normal service life of the car. Accord calls for an automatic transaxle fluid change at 15,000 miles and every 30,000 miles after that. You won't have to change Tempo's brake fluid for the normal life of the car. Accord expects you to change brake fluid at 30,000 miles. Tempo has a self-adjusting clutch. Accord's clutch requires inspection for adjustment every 7,500 miles. Tempo's hydraulic valve lifters require no adjustment. Accord's must be inspected every 15,000 miles. Tempo's carburetor settings never need adjustment during normal service for the life of the car. Not so with Accord. Ford makes maintaining Tempo simple. It's perfect for the do-it-yourselfer. Many underhood service points are color-keyed. Washer, coolant, and brake reservoirs are see-through. You can even make a visual inspection of the front discs without pulling a wheel. And there's a visual inspection plug for the rear brakes. You can remove and replace the exhaust system with simple tools. And it's easy to replace spark plugs and the oil filter or the wiper motor. All this can save you time and money. Now, let's see how the two cars compare in passenger room. First, let's look closer at Accord. Accord only has 85 cubic feet of passenger room. Tempo has 90 cubic feet, a big 5 cubic foot advantage. The seating dimensions, it's Tempo 6:2. Accord has a bit more front headroom, but it's Tempo in all other front seat dimensions. And look at those rear seat measurements. 1/2 inch more headroom, 2 more inches of shoulder room, and 3.5 more inches of leg room. And it all adds up to more passenger comfort when you take to the road. Tempo, a car that takes on the very best the Japanese have to offer. But it is built on this side of the ocean and has the parts and service support of a network of Ford dealers. Feel how Tempo accelerates, turns, handles, rides. Enjoy the Tempo experience, a purely contemporary and functional design with a rare combination of technology for performance and economy of operation. Who says that you can't have fun in a family car? That's what Tempo does. It puts the fun back into driving.